Oh. Hello there fellow modelers, Steve here, and it's inbox review time tonight. I've got two inbox reviews to do and they're both for group builds. The first one, which is this one, which is for my Dakota group build, and it's the C-47 Skytrain Berlin airlift, but ignore the Berlin airlift. And this is a 1/48 scale, so it's going to be quite a big plane. And I picked this up at Telford last year. I'm not sure how much I paid for it, but it was obviously a bit cheaper than what you would pay in the shops. It was in the bargain room. Now I'm not sure whether this is a brand new kit or a reboxing of an old kit, but the markings, the decals are printed out as last year, so it's probably come out last year and it's been a rebox, I think. Dust on it. Right, so we'll start off with it, and this is for my Dakota group build, which started last week. Put that down there. We'll start off with the instructions. I just want to zoom in a bit. Just a tiny bit. Right. Typical Revel instructions. I think that's obviously, it's in German and English. And a load of other languages telling you what to do. These are the typical symbols: ×2, don't glue, don't cut yourself, take as much time as you want, sellotape, whatever. Don't do it if you're under 18, I think it is. No, it's a clear part. And there's all the colour call-outs, which I'll be using for the interior, but obviously not for the outside. There's the thread. And what's then there? File off, see-through, parts not used, close openings with putty, whatever. And there's the sprue list. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sprues, and obviously there are for if you want to make a wartime version, because it's all the paratroopers, they're the parts not used. We just got the X there. Put them to one side for the moment. Now it takes how many sections to do it? 35 sections, 34, whatever. First one is the inside of the cockpit. Lots of detail with the seats. With it being a 1/48 scale, I went a bit overboard. I've just banged my head on the roof and it's knocking. The bulkhead. A navigator's chair, I think. No, that's a navigator. Oh, anyway, I don't think you get a decal mark for the control panel, but it's got different colours to paint it so you can make it a bit more realistic. Another part of the cockpit. The windows. What colour to paint it, which I'll be using. That's the window glass, which I'll put in last. Got a time limit there, and that is a good idea for the wings to level it. I first encountered that with the old Frog Shackleton, and it was really good, because sometimes you can get the wings don't balance, or you've got to use what I use, which is them, to balance it out. So it's good that it's got that in. That's for a military glider, if you want to put it in. There's the wings glued on, the undercarriage, bits of the engine, the wheels. The wheels look good. I'll have a look at them later on. And there's the engines. Pretty straightforward. I think that was the cockpit canopy, and that's why you can have the doors open or shut. And the tail wheel snaps into place, so you can move it. And there's where you cut the doors. You can use some melted sprue, but I've never tried that. I don't know what that's for anyway. And there's the 3 figures. Now I'm going to modify them to be part of the crew. And there's the markings that you get, which is a Douglas C-47 Skytrain of the European Air Transport of the US Air Force. Stationed at Rheinland Air Base, Frankfurt, Maine, during the Berlin airlift, winter 1948-49. And the RAF version, which is the Douglas Dakota C Mark IV, number 46 Squadron, Royal Air Force, Berlin airlift, Operation Plainfare, at RAF Wunstorf, Germany, 1948. But I won't be doing any of them. And there's the markings, which are printed, are the 2009. So it's quite an old kit really. The markings look okay. I'll obviously use the common to them both. But the version I'm going to do, it is a fictional Dakota. I'm going to put that to one side. What I'm going to do it is, now this might only apply to those of us in the UK, but I'm going to do it in the livery of a fictional Dakota that was from a television series in the early 80s called Airline. The basic plot was about a guy who was a pilot demoted from the RAF after the Second World War, who started his own airline. Now it only ran for 9 episodes, was cancelled, but it was a really good drama, well written, and I was a fan straight away. Me and my brother used to watch it, and it's all interwoven with, there's 9 episodes, the stories are interwoven with the significant events of the day, the trouble in Palestine, the Berlin airlift, the big winter of 47, and it's all interwoven with the main character, which is a guy called Jack Ruskin, his girlfriend and his crew, clashes he had with them. So you can get this on, it's obviously on the DVD, but there's a few episodes on YouTube, so if you want to find out and you've never heard of it, just have a quick watch. I mean, the real stars were the aeroplanes, but there you go. And I've got a picture of it, of the actual plane, what it should look like. It's a grey with a blue cheat line and white on the top there. Now I've got for the civil registration, I'm using 1/48 scale of American B-17s and P-51 Mustangs because it matches it. It's the same scale, and the lines across there, which is the name of the air service, I'm using these, which are dry transfer letters. You put them on, pencil on, pull it off slowly, and the letter is on. And the Union Jacks, they come at work today. The water-based, just as normal, what you would get with decals. And there's all different sizes. And I'll be using, I think it'll probably be either them or them. One of them, I think it's them. That might be too small. So I've got loads to do there. I only need 2. It's So that's them done, the markings, and then we'll go into the kit. This is the one sprue, and you can see it's quite big. It's raised panel lines, so I think it's an old kit that's reissued, but I'm not bothered. Quite a big kit. There's the bottom bit and the engines. And the wheels, there is a tread on them, if you can see them. There's the tailplane, the horizontal tail planes at the back. There's bits of the bulkhead, control yokes, the control column, which has raised dials. You can paint them different colours, and that's that sprue. And that's actually the one that goes through the middle, that keeps the wing level, which is quite good. I'll just leave that in the box. And here's the other sprue. Which has one of the two sets of wings on, the propellers. Look good, the propellers, the engine cowlings and the base for the engines. Like I say, it's raised panel lines, but I'm not bothered. Doesn't bother me one bit. But I'm not going to go through, I'm not that skilled yet about sanding all the raised panel lines off and re-scribing it. I might try it in the near future, but not at the moment. Here's the other set of wings with the seats, the undercarriage legs. That's the rear undercarriage leg. The undercarriage, that's the engine exhausts. That's the top. But it all looks good. And there's the clear sprue. Looks okay. Didn't have a lot of glass in, just a narrow cockpit. Wing lights and the windows. And this is the last one, which has the ones that you don't need, all the soldiers, which they'll go in the spares box. And there's the three crew members, which I'm going to modify to be the three characters that crewed the plane in the television series. There's the door and the floor. More of the undercarriage legs, more of the seats. And that's it. So that's my review for me entry for the Dakota group build. I'll probably start that at the weekend. So that's that entry. Now, as far as I know, there's only two guys have started this group build. Frankie Deer, who's doing an Airfix 1/72nd scale Dakota in the markings of Dan Air, and a guy called Sean. I think it's making models. I'm not sure what his tag name is, but he's a guy called Sean, and he's making a Revel 1/72nd scale in Lufthansa markings. So it's nice to see some civilian DACs, because most of it you associate with the war, either the Royal Air Force version or the United States Army Air Force version. So that's my review for that, and I'm looking forward to starting that. Right, now I did make one of the Dakotas for this television series years ago, but it's in a box somewhere. I'll have to dig it out, because the guy actually operated 2 Dakotas and I made the other one. I'll have to dig it out somewhere. That's probably all dusty and what and broken, but that's my entry for that. Now my second entry for Frankie D's Cold War aircraft group build is this, which is an artillery 1/72nd scale MiG-29A Fulcrum, and I'll be doing it in the markings of the Yugoslav Air Force of 1989, so it just qualifies because it's from 1948 to the end of the Cold War, and that ended in 89 when the Berlin Wall came down. So we'll go into this straight away, and there's actually the markings of the Yugoslav aircraft. It's a gold grey, light grey overall with a gold grey camouflage, not a very elaborate camouflage, and the nose is a really dark grey, and obviously the engines are flat black. Right, sort that out first. We'll look at the instructions in different languages: Spanish, Italian, French, English, German. And there's the markings, and look at them later. There's a sprue map. Now the only thing it hasn't got is it's got the paint call outs, but it hasn't got a list. Oh, it has. I mustn't have been looking. There's the paint call out list. I thought it wouldn't have did that. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. It's a pretty basic kit. It shouldn't be that hard to do. But he's running this group build. It started now because he's doing himself is doing the Douglas C-54 Skymaster, which is a Revel one comparable to the DC-3 that I'm doing, and that's as far as I know for now. I'll have to have a look on it tonight, see who else is on. You get 1, 2, 3 sprues, 3 sets of missiles. Now I've actually seen one of these, I think it's one of these or a Sukhoi Su-27 or an Su-30, do a move called the Cobra, where the pilot, I'd seen it in an air show years ago, where the pilot literally stands up and it's nearly stalling speed, and he's like really hanging in the air like that, and it's wonderful to see it. It's fantastic. So that's that there, and the decals, that's common to all. That's a Soviet Air Force version, but I'm doing the Yugoslav Air Force, something different, because the Soviet Air Force version, this one, it appeared at the Farnborough Air Show about 92 I think, so it's well out of the Cold War. But the small, the look okay, they should go on, no problem. When is this off? Printed in Italy. It doesn't say how old this kit is. Right. I've had this for about 6 or 7 months and I've never opened it. Right, that's rare engraved panel lines. There's quite a lot of detail there. That's the bottom bit for the wheel wells. Brush that up with some, I might put an oil wash on there, try it something new. That's the engine nacelles, and they're all the armaments. That one, that missile there, I forget what it's called, but it's the equivalent to the AIM 54 Phoenix missile that was operated by the US Navy, and they're compatible with the Sidewinder, I think. That's that one there. And that's the top half. Very engraved panel lines. Markings on the engine. There's the air intakes, I think they are, and the wings, and the tail planes. It has two double tail planes. This came out, or entered service, round about the same time, in the same time frame as the F-16, F-15 and the F-14, and it's compatible with that. One of the later Soviet types of fighter aircraft. I'm not sure whether they still have them in service now. I think they might have moved on a bit. And there's the engine nacelles. They're a good detail as well. And that's the cockpit pod. And that on there. Here's the sprue in two parts, so you can mount it open, which I think I might. It doesn't come with a pilot, so I'll leave it as all. I might put a ladder on and put on a little stand, a little like a little runway. But the panel light, the cockpit looks good, no scratches, it's clean. So that's my entry for Frankie Day's group build. I had about 6 or 7 kits that could have covered any of that time frame. From I've got a hell of a lot of US Navy jets, another Russian jet that I could have did was an earlier one, but I decided to do this. Got a few British jets as well, quite a few from that period, but I've decided to do this one. So that's my review of me 2 entries for the group builds, and I'll get started on this at the weekend as well. So that's my review. In fact, I might get started on it now if I've got time. Anyway, happy modelling, and I'll see you guys in the next video. The next one I do, I might have some of this done. Bye now.